Dust. It is everywhere, my people. Now, if you want to make your photos atmosphere a little bit more on the ancient side and give it a retro feel to it, you can add dust via Photoshop. So let's learn how to do it.
So you want to add dust to your images. You can do that by having some dust textures which are limited by resolution. So the best thing is to create your own brush that draws like a bunch of dust, if that makes any sense. The first thing is we need to correct some settings or set up some settings beforehand. Choose your brush tool. On the top over here on the toolbar, you will see opacity and flow. If these two parameters are low, it will kind of make a funky effect over your image. So that is not needed. We can change these variables in the brush settings over here, which we get to it in a minute. The flow and the opacity on 100 and your hardness should be on 100%, because if you lower it you get a soft brush effect. After that you cannot create this layered effect which affects the closer dust to the camera. If you simulate, if let's say this is the camera over here, bear with me, this is the camera, this is the field view of the camera. You have a dust over here and a dust over here, but the focal length is here. So the one over here and further back in the background will be blurry, but the ones in the field of the focal length of the camera will be sharp. So to create this effect, you need to put the hardness of your brush to 100%. So you have a hard round brush over here, which you can afterward blur it manually and gives you much more control over what you are trying to do. So delete this. So the basics are flow 100%, opacity 100%, hardness 100%. After that, make sure that the airbrush effect is turned off and smoothing is set to 0 or just disabled. To create the brush effect of the dust particles, you need to come over here to your brush settings. Everything you can change about your brush is in this panel over here. If you don't see this, go to your window, come over to brush settings or brushes. It will appear on a standalone deck like this, but you can click and drag it into the menu over here. So click it here. Brush tip. First things first, check if everything is on 100%, hardness, flow, and opacity. Now, you need to add some spacing. What spacing does is literally in the name, it adds much more spaces between every dust, so it won't look like a worm in the air. See, tiny snake or something. That is not what we are looking for. What we need is much more spacing than this. So I'm gonna make this a little bit smaller. Next up is the shape dynamics. Please work. Okay. It's a old PC runs on diesel. Alright. The first setting in the shape and dynamics is the size jitter, which dictates which is the smallest and the biggest. This for our situation here, the circle that we have. So the smallest one will be 87% smaller than these original sized ones. So if I go to the brush tip again, make this bigger. If I divide this by the percent, I will get this teeny tiny dust particle over here. So again, to the shape and dynamics, you can choose your minimum diameter, but you can change it via the size over here as well. You can see it looks kind of like a bubbles, but we're gonna fix that in a minute. After that, we have the angle jitter, which rotates the circle around itself, so it doesn't do anything on a circular brush. We can go to roundness jitter, which does nothing again, but because the minimum roundness is on 100%, so if you lower it, you can see it skews the brush on its axis, which in this situation is not needed actually, because dust is so small you can even actually see it skewing around. So put it on 0 for this. Now after that is scattering. For scattering, you can do it on both axes, which divides them and scatters them around the canvas, which is exactly what we want. Now you can use this as even bokeh effect, not just dust particles. You can change the count. I think this is what we need. The higher you go, the more compact it will look. The lower is more defined, and it actually be controllable. Let me click this off. Yeah, this is our dust really up. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's better. The texture is not really needed, and the dual brush, if you want to mix another brush, that will be for another day. Color dynamics, we don't need color for dust. Is usually a very mildly tinted effect in photos that I've seen. The transfer is for people who have uh, some sort of a XP pen tablet which has a stylus. You can change it, change the way the brush follows your mouse control. So if you rotate this, it will rotate the effect with it, which is not needed because not a lot of people have that at home. The noise is not needed as well. You can add it, but you can add it again with the filter menu over here, so it's not needed. The basic things are just these three sub menus over here. The scattering, so you can lower or bring up the count of the dust particles, and the shape dynamics on how does the brush responds to your clicks, like you want it more or less, bigger, and etc. So these are the controls that we did. Hardness 100%, and let's add this to a photo. One thing to note, dust particles show better on darker images. Remember this, because on a brighter image, because the dust is very bright itself, it doesn't show very well. You can add a shadow to it, but it will be very fake. So just add a simple shadow over here. It does show more, but it makes it kind of unrealistic. So bear that in mind, that it mostly works better on darker images. Now, in a Pokemon, something on the side note, you need to understand the depth of field that you have. Now, for instance, if I create this over here, hold on, I'm gonna draw for you guys for a second. So, as I said before, if you have a camera over here, okay, this is my camera, this is the field of view, nothing important. There's a focal length. This is the focus point or the focus area of your photo. If you have a dust particle over here or a dust particle over here, these two should be blurry. Alright, we need to blur this. Where is blur? Over here. Okay. These two should be blurry. The only particles that are hard circles, like a normal circle right here, are these one in the middle. This area will have hard circles around in it in this range. You can see there is a range actually, like from here to here. This is your focal range. This is where the camera focuses and has the most sharp pixels. So the ones in this area, which are closer to the camera, behind the focal length, and those after the camera's focal length should be blurry. Do not forget this. Now, to create this effect over here, you're gonna add I gotta select this subject real quick, but I don't think it really matters. So add a new layer, go to the brush, add some. This is too dense, so I'm gonna add more spacing to it. More, like this. Perfect. Okay, so I can have more control over it. I'm gonna add couple of here, couple of the dust brushes over here. All right. So the ones that are much bigger are the ones who are closer to the camera. So those are behind my focal length and should be blurred out. Gaussian blur, blur it until they keep their shape as a circle. Because if you go very high up, it just turns into bloom. So a little bit higher, higher than that, higher than that. This is perfect here. And this number, do not copy this. This is based on my image resolution. This is a 10-year picture I made, so it might differ for you. Click OK and lower the opacity. That's it. Now, another one. I'm gonna make it smaller, so this will be in the range of my camera. Add a couple of here, a couple more, and lower the opacity. That's it. And some of them can be smaller. These are very far, like that. These need to be blurred as well. It's not showing very well over here, but it is there, believe me. That is the basic of creating a brush. So I'm gonna go over everything again. To create it, hit the B on your keyboard or click brush on the left over here. Make sure opacity, flow, and hardness is on 100%. Change everything based on your preference in these three submenus in the brush settings. If it's not there, Windows, brush settings. That's it. Spacing creates more space between them, makes them more scattered, or makes them more compact and close to each other. Shapes and dynamics, you can change the size, which is the smallest and which is the biggest. Scattering, hence the name, you can add more of them or make them less. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial on how to add dust to your images. And I'm gonna just bring a random image over here so you can see it a little bit better. I'll just use this car over here. So you can add dust to this as well. Make it a little bit bigger. You can use it as bokeh as well. Forgot to put in the layer. I'm gonna scatter them more. Where is my... Oh, okay. There he is. Add a little bit of dust and blur it. On an actual image, you can change the opacity to either linear or overlay. Overlay is very good effect for dust particles. So I'm gonna add some more. These are closer to the camera over here, and the ones that are closer to the camera should be much more blurrier. Let's add some blur over here, and let's add overlay to it. I mean, it doesn't look on this image because the image is kind of bright and blown out on some areas, but I want to see what you can do with this. Thank you for watching this video and have a pleasant evening.